Drive across Alabama today and you will see busy highways, football stadiums, quiet rivers, and small towns. It feels like a place with a familiar American story. But beneath that modern world lies a history that almost disappeared. Long before the United States was born, before Columbus crossed the Atlantic, and before England even knew this land existed, Alabama was home to one of the greatest native powers in North America. Now imagine turning time backward. The roads vanish, the stadiums fade away. Thick forests cover the land, but rising above the trees are giant earth temples built by human hands. Crowded plazas are filled with thousands of people. Powerful rulers guide their people through trade, faith, and war. Sacred ceremonies bring whole communities together. Alliances are made, rivals clash. Political games shape the future. Then, from across the ocean, European explorers arrive, changing this world forever. This is the story of the forgotten empire that once ruled much of the American Southeast. Before cities, before kings, and before great mounds touched the sky, this land was already special. Wide rivers flowed through rich valleys, filled with fish, deer, fertile soil, and endless forests. These rivers became natural highways, carrying people, ideas, and trade across the region. They gave families everything they needed to grow, settle, and dream bigger than ever before. Slowly, small farming villages appeared along the riverbanks. Year after year, they became larger, stronger, and more connected. Over time, these communities grew into the powerful Mississippian world, leading to the great chiefdom centered at Moundville. I'm Mark, and together we'll uncover the forgotten history of the empire that ruled Alabama before America ever existed. The first farming communities did more than grow food. They changed the future of the land. People learned that corn could feed many families from a small area. With a steady food supply, they no longer had to move from place to place. Villages stayed where they were, and each year they grew a little larger. As the towns expanded, life became more organized. Some people became skilled farmers. Others made fine pottery, carved stone tools, or traded with distant neighbors. Wise leaders stepped forward to settle problems, guide ceremonies, and protect their people. What had once been small villages slowly became strong communities with a shared purpose. Across Alabama, something even more amazing began to appear. Workers carried thousands of baskets filled with earth, one load at a time. Over many years, they built huge mounds that rose high above the flat river valleys. These were not just piles of dirt, they were sacred places where leaders ruled, priests held ceremonies, and important decisions shaped the future. At the heart of this growing world stood Moundville. It was carefully planned, with large open spaces surrounded by towering earthen mounds. People traveled from far away to gather here for trade, festivals, and religious events. It was both a holy place and the center of political power. Religion gave people a common purpose. Strong leaders kept order. Rich farmland along the rivers produced enough food to support thousands. Together, these three forces helped Moundville grow faster than anyone could have imagined. But success also brought new dangers. As Moundville became stronger, other chiefdoms watched its rise with both respect and fear. New rivals were beginning to appear, and the struggle for power was only just beginning.
We must strike here, at the river fork, before they establish a foothold. But if we move too soon, we risk leaving the western flank exposed.
Soon, Moundville would rise to become one of the greatest powers in all of ancient North America. Moundville did not stay a single city for long. Its power spread across much of what is now Alabama and reached far beyond its borders. Smaller chiefdoms formed alliances with its rulers, while others accepted its influence through trade, respect, or fear. The rivers became busy highways, carrying people and ideas from one community to another. powerful chiefs stood at the center of this growing world. They led great ceremonies, settled disputes, built strong alliances, and, when needed, sent warriors to defend their lands. Their authority came not only from strength but also from the belief that they were chosen to guide their people. Every day, traders arrived with valuable goods from distant places. Bright copper came from the north. Beautiful shells traveled from the Gulf Coast. Fine stone arrived from faraway hills, while skilled craftsmen shaped clay into detailed pottery. These treasures connected Moundville to a huge network that stretched across the southeast. Life was full of purpose. Farmers worked the rich fields of corn, beans, and squash. Craftsmen created tools, jewelry, and artwork. Priests led sacred ceremonies that honored the spirits and the ancestors. Warriors protected their homes and earned respect through courage. On top of the great earthen mounds, large gatherings brought thousands of people together. Sacred symbols told stories of the sky, the earth, and the world beyond. Songs, dances, and ceremonies helped unite many different communities under shared beliefs. Even without writing or iron tools, this civilization became as organized and impressive as many of the great societies remembered around the world. Its ideas, goods, and traditions spread across a vast region, but no great power remains unchallenged forever. As competition grew, resources became harder to share, and political rivalries deepened. The cracks were small at first, but they warned that Moundville's greatest test was drawing near. Every great civilization reaches a moment when its strength is tested. For Moundville, that moment did not come all at once. It began slowly, almost without notice. Old alliances became weaker. Powerful leaders struggled to hold their people together. Rival chiefdoms competed for land, food, and influence, and trust slowly gave way to conflict. The busy trade routes that once carried copper, shells, stone, and pottery became quieter. Fewer travelers arrived, and fewer goods were exchanged. As life became harder, many families left the great ceremonial center and settled in smaller communities closer to good farmland. Little by little, Moundville lost the power it had once held over the region. Instead of one great center, many smaller chiefdoms took its place. The people adapted, but the world they had built was changing. Then came a danger no one could have imagined. In the 1500s, Spanish explorers entered the southeast, searching for riches and new lands. But they brought something far more deadly than swords. Diseases traveled faster than the explorers themselves. Illness spread through native communities that had never faced these sicknesses before. Entire villages were changed forever before many people had even seen a European face. Old alliances broke apart. Ancient traditions struggled to survive as communities fought to rebuild their lives. Yet the people did not disappear. From the ruins, new native nations rose, carrying parts of the old world into a new age. Because these people left no written records, much of their story faded from history. For centuries, the giant mounds stood in silence. Today, archaeologists continue to uncover their secrets, proving that beneath the quiet fields of Alabama lies the story of one of North America's greatest forgotten civilizations. Today, if you visit Moundville in Alabama, you will find wide green fields, quiet walking paths, and great grassy mounds reaching into the sky. Birds sing in the trees, and the Black Warrior River flows peacefully nearby. At first, it may seem like a calm park with little to tell. But every step you take is across the remains of a city that once stood at the heart of one of North America's greatest civilizations. Now think back to where our journey began. Those quiet rivers became busy highways, carrying people, food, and ideas across the southeast. small farming villages grew into thriving towns. Basket by basket, thousands of workers raised giant earth mounds that still stand today. Powerful chiefs ruled from these sacred places, guiding their people through trade, faith, and difficult times. Families planted rich fields, craftsmen shaped beautiful works of art, priests led ceremonies, and warriors defended their communities. For hundreds of years, this world flourished. Then came growing rivalries, changing trade, new dangers, and finally, the arrival of Europeans. Disease, conflict, and change reshaped the land forever. Yet even as great centers like Moundville lost their power, the people endured. Their descendants carried their traditions, stories, and strength into a new chapter of history. The story of Moundville reminds us that a great civilization does not need stone castles, written books, or giant walls to leave a lasting mark on the world. Its people built with earth instead of stone. They passed down knowledge through memory instead of writing. They created a rich culture that shaped the history of the American Southeast for centuries. When we remember Moundville and the Mississippian world, we begin to see American history in a new way. The story of this land did not begin when Europeans arrived. Long before America existed, another civilization had already built cities, created trade networks, developed deep spiritual beliefs, and connected thousands of people across a vast region. That forgotten world still speaks to us through the mounds, the objects left behind, and the discoveries that continue to uncover its past. It reminds us that history is often hidden in the places we least expect. Thank you for joining me on this journey into one of America's greatest forgotten civilizations. If you enjoyed this story, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and join me again as we uncover more forgotten histories that shaped our world. Until next time, I'm Mark, and I'll see you in our next journey through history.